how they should be making decisions. And real quick, I did post in the chat there the Uber crew is what they call it. In GB, you can actually reach out to your state rep. I guess if
I
you want
tried
to
to do
call
it.
it.
I was thinking about doing it, but I was like, doing it through them any way that you do it, where you do it directly through them, it's gonna be dead on arrival. Because to be honest, just like you said, they're just doing that so they can act like they're listening. If ain't no money exchanging hands or no real political pressure, just going into an Uber building,
Well,
quote unquote,
I
or virtually, they ain't gonna listen to us.
I remember their biggest was it their last year. They said their biggest thing that drivers wanted was updates to their mapping system. I'm like, I don't know a single driver that gives a shit about your
I
or
ain't
gives a
never heard
crap
of that
about
before.
your
I got
mapping
Google
Right. I
Maps.
want
system.
an update that just takes it away and lets me pick
Yeah.
the map and goes right to the map I like. So like just lose
But
it.
yeah,
man.
that's what they said last year. Is, our number one requested was updates to our map. I remember Dara talking about it. I'm like, what? No, I don't know a single driver that cares about your maps.
And if you are a driver who did request that, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pass judgment, but Jesus, dude, like seriously, that's what you want? I mean, you want them to spend money reinventing Google Maps?
Pretty much.
I mean, there's so many bigger things we have to deal with. Like just let us click to the map we want to use. Shut up.
But
Lose your map. Your map sucks.
If you want to complain though, Uber crew, you can complain directly to them.
And I would think
I'm gonna have to
I'm a
talk to
little bit
somebody in
with
Seattle.
NGB on that though. That I honestly believe they're taking in all of your, like, he might go there and complain on a few things, but that at some point they'll use that to their benefit. At some point, his answers, even if they're bad, are going to play to their benefit. I can't think of a scenario and how, and I don't know the questions type things, but I'm just saying they can like, it's like when they do a 200 driver study. Okay, really? Did you know 150 of them want a union first? I mean, they do. They know this stuff.
Yeah, what they're really doing is they're taking that information and honestly, more so than not, they're data collecting and running the other direction, if I'm being honest with you.
What's funny
They're
is
listening to
when
everything that we want and will purposely, like, I really think at some point in time, this sounds kind of cynical, but yeah, there's people that like around the edges, oh, we care, yeah, that's cool. But I really think at some point in time, these corporations are literally trying to listen to us to run in the opposite direction on purpose. Like, there's no way in 2025 drivers are like, we've gone nowhere.
Actually, it's even kind of worse now. They're selling.
Yeah, it's even worse. That's what I'm
They're
saying.
selling, but they're selling your keystrokes. They're selling. I mean, I was reading this thing about other things they're selling. Like they're spying on your social medias tied to your, and they're not doing it with personnel. They're just doing it with AI bots.
The battery powered. I wanted to ask you, what's up with the battery power thing, bro? I heard about that. They'll dick around your orders based on your battery power.
Yep.
Just keep your battery charged.
Just keep your phone
Well, yeah, I
charged,
do, but I'm just like, they're really looking at your battery power.
I mean,
yeah, but I mean,
going into your social media.
But here's the thing: like the battery power one, though, that's a legit thing. Do you really want someone picking up an order with 2% battery? No,
I think his point was he doesn't want anybody reading his battery power.
It's just the fact that people don't know. You know, you're like, I didn't know about the battery power thing until Mike Drop talked about it. I said, wait, what? They looking at your battery power?
Oh yeah, as developers, we can look at a lot of stuff on your phone already that the developers programmed APIs.
Yeah, you guys can damn near track our eyeball movement because we got like the phones. They got the iris shit like mine.
You can't do that though without special permissions. You have to get user runtime permissions for anything camera related, anything audio related, things like that. Anything privacy related, you have to get the runtime permission for it. There's no way to secretly track that stuff. Just FYI. But like stuff that doesn't matter, like your battery percentage. That doesn't matter to anybody. It's really a useless thing. What type of phone do you have? Your chipset, your memory, things like that.
Even if you're saying they need to, though, if they really need to, I mean, why don't they just put it in the TOS? Nobody reads it anyway. You know what I mean? For one, but for two, like if they really need to, like, I don't know. Why do you
Like,
need?
you want to know my battery
It kind of
power,
proves that you're in my
but why do I
phone,
not
but you
know the
just need
metrics for
that.
DoorDash? Like, you guys want to know all the inner workings of my cell phone, but you can't tell me the order volume for my city for the last 3 months. But you
Oh,
want
they
to know the
could.
battery power and the make and model of my cell phone? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, why would? But I'll be honest. Why would they? Why would they tell you the volume in your market? Because
Because
they're the business. They don't have to disclose that to you.
true,
Well, no,
I hear
I
you,
mean,
but it
you're
would
just
be
looking at it.
advantageous for us to know, because if we're independent, that's like saying that Boeing doesn't like Boeing is not getting metrics from the government or something like that. Like, these contractors that are like in a more serious quote unquote lane, they're getting metrics and all kind of stuff. I just think it's because we quote unquote have no power. They just choose not to give it to us. But we should be knowing. Like, I should know how the Seattle legislation. But I know they'll probably lie, but I mean, you can at least fake it. I should know how that Seattle legislation affected DoorDash's metrics. It should be on the earnings specifically, or at least give it to the drivers that are in that region in a quarterly email or something. Like,
Well,
we're just
let
blind
me
out here.
ask you this: have you ever listened to their quarterly call
Yeah, of course,
for
I'm in the
for
stocks
their
big. I
stock?
listen to that stuff all the time. Yeah.
So I mean, they put some of this stuff out there for that too. They don't put everything. Of course, they're not going to put every single state, every single metric. That's just allowing competitors to come in and take
No,
over.
and I'll even take it a step farther. Let's look at what, and I have to say Uber here for a minute, but it's not stepping away from this. Look at what the Uber investors did. They realized autonomous was not coming in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 25. And now Derek Khosrowshahi comes out and says delivery service robots will be 80% of the US delivery force by 2040. That makes autonomous vehicles like 2080. So therefore, I mean,
Elon's going to have them before they.
I know, but so my point is, all these investors were in on that, and even that I don't really understand, because Gary and I know too that those autonomouses, they don't run well, but they're not cheap either, and people are going to trash them. But at the same time, even if they did, the investors who were in from the real early Travis days, even all the way buckling up to the 2020, were in it in the knowledge that it was going to be all autonomous. There wouldn't be a driver involved, and as that lie became, it was Dara telling him every year the next year. And now he's saying like the delivery portion in 15 years, 80%. Well, that means that now they've actually got over 6% of that's a huge amount of their investors want a more detailed breakdown on driver pay in the quarterly earnings. So exactly what Gary's saying, they kind of clog things together and say, here's what we pay the drivers. Here's this, here's what we made. Well, now they want to know, well, wait, no, how much in each market are the drivers making? Because if they're not making a living wage, this business will never make money.
Yeah, because the robots are going to cost more than the people. If we're being honest, it's just the robots aren't gonna make it cheaper. It's going to be less liability. You're not going to have to pay a robot's medical. You're not going to have to pay a robot's insurance. You're not going to have to pay a robot unemployment. You're not going to have to pay. You know what I mean? It's in my
Pay for
opinion, to
new
be honest,
ones and
with the
replacements,
robots.
and
Yeah, they're just putting the robots in there to have to be able to cut things without having the, oh my God, it's a human. You know what I mean? Them robots are going to cost thousands of dollars. It doesn't cost you nothing to go get a random person in Wichita, Kansas, with a 2000 Honda and tell. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the longevity of this is. It's like, I'm surprised they're even letting this run out like this. This just shows you how speculative U.S. stock market is. Because, dude, the delivery industry is almost as unpredictable. It's worse than not like you said, not political, but it's almost as unforeseeable as like autonomous vehicles and EVs. Like, you can't gauge that out like that.
Well, let me ask you this though. Do you think that delivery is ever going to get back to 2020, 2021, 2022 volume?
No, unless we have another black swan event. No.
Even then, I feel like they'd stick with this pricing model.
Yeah, it's like
you guys
they're
already did
pricing
it once,
themselves. They're
man. Do it
pricing themselves
again.
out of business for sure. They're definitely pricing themselves out of business.